No.
Believe in you.
And then you'll knock your throat.
Hello everyone and welcome to Call It Crits. I'm sorry we're on a little later tonight, like 45 minutes later than usual. I do apologise. The heat has been manic. And I've just realised that my session thing still says session 62. It's supposed to say session 63. I don't know why it doesn't. Okay, let me try and change that. And while I'm changing that, the rest of the guys can all say hello.
Hello.
It's hot.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're back, and it is like 30. Still, is it still like 30? It's 36 degrees here in the UK.
33.
Yeah.
33. It's going to be climbing to heights of 40 tomorrow, which is crazy.
And now the news and weather where you are.
Drink plenty of water and stay safe. To anybody that needs to hear that, really. Yeah, in tonight's session, where last we left off, the party had been travelling from Ashen Oak on their way to Westera, where you are going to be doing some investigating for Jan as part of his academic study that he's asked for your help with, and you've been sort of almost sponsored by your benefactor Vinvia Windweaver, who has not only given you supplies for the journey, but also given you a caravan, which used to belong to the Wandering Wolves, the former adventuring party, which used to have members in Raljan's parents, Vidiana and Camden, and so yeah, you're now sort of travelling in this caravan, and you were on your way when you were happened upon by... Now, guys, I'm gonna have to try and remind me because I've been trying to say this on. I was trying to think of it earlier. What were they called that you were fighting?
Oh God.
Dryads?
Dryads. No. That's it. Whew. Okay, so yeah, you were attacked by dryads, which in itself was quite strange because dryads are generally neutral or neutral good, but these seem to be controlled by the Vicious Whisper, having that tattoo on their chest after you inspected their bodies was a telltale sign. A little bit later on, as you were travelling, you also came across some other creatures, some weird dwarven-like creatures, which I can't remember the names of those either because I'm
Covards. Kobold.
Something along those lines. I think the heat
It's
is really,
so
I think the heat is really getting to me today, guys. I really do. I'm gonna say it because I need to figure it out. I need to get it right. So can someone read out the sponsors while I'm doing this?
Okay, our sponsors are no one.
Today we are sponsored by The Act of Melting. Try it.
the act of melting. Okay, it's around here somewhere. I'm sure it's in this book. Maybe it's not in this book.
I'm being sponsored by my dog, who is a literal hot water bottle on my leg.
So you have a hot dog.
He's a hot dog. Yeah.
He's hot dog.
Hot dog.
Maybe it's have it in this one.
Was that? Did you just Mickey's Clubhouse us?
I just Mickey's Club. Yes, Mickey's Clubhouse. Yes. Hot dog. Do.
I'm ashamed I know what that is.
I know what it is. I've got kids.
I imagine that a lot of this session is just going to be us going, duh.
Yeah, probably.
Highest rated session ever.
Why can't
Everyone's just melted onto the like button.
Melted onto the like button?
Hey guys, smash that like button if you feel like you're going to die.
Or just drip on it. That's fine too.
Yeah. Yeah, that is
Sweaty
gross.
keyboard.
Sweat on the thing. Oh dear. I can't
Oh.
find it. Why can't I find it? I need to. They were here. Hang on. I bet I can figure out what it is because I bet I still got them on my battle thing.
Oh wait, is this the grey things we fought last week?
Yes. I can't remember what they were called. They were called Coreds, and you were right.
Coreds!
Coreds.
I
Yeah.
said Coveds, and I was
Yeah.
thinking of COVID.
Yeah, you were fighting COVID.
Oh God, not again!
So yeah, no, the Coreds, which was your last encounter, and after the battle and sort of like doing your investigations on these, noticing that they had the same tattoo, which the Dryads had, leading you to believe that obviously there is a very similar spell going on here at least. Valjean, you went back to the caravan to, I don't know, to rest up or to get some stuff, whichever it was. And when you went in there, you heard a familiar, well, somewhat familiar, you've only met this person once, somewhat familiar dwarven voice. Basically beckoning you, saying not to say a word. And then he basically said that he needs your help. You have to kill Herion, and that's where we ended the session. And I'm feeling for some reason I'm feeling really self-conscious about doing a dwarven accent, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because I just can't do it. I've been practicing, I just can't.
You can do it.
I can't do it. Anyway,
Just channel your inner Scotty.
I've got to channel my inner Scottish. Maybe I can do it. Maybe I can.
Yay!
Is he Irish or Scottish?
He's
Yeah.
Irish. No, he's Scottish. No, Bingo is Irish. The Crab Sailor is Irish. This guy is Scottish, and I've got to
Oh,
try.
hey.
What?
Sorry, we've just got someone in the chat. Hi there. Yes, that was me. That was me who gave you the card.
Oh,
Nice
right.
to see you.
Hello.
Yes.
Welcome to our madness. We're a
Yes,
little
thank
bit.
you for joining us.
Yeah, we're a
What
little
a
bit.
great time to join us.
Yeah. We're all. We haven't
We're
actually got
melting.
into. We haven't actually got into the session yet, because we're just so hot and and everything. But yeah, nice to see someone joining us. Feel free to give us a follow, please. That'd be lovely. But yeah, we'll get into it because yeah, it is boiling. It is boiling. Anyway, we'll try and jump into the session and we'll see how we go with it and see what we do. I've got this fan blowing on me. I'm still, to quote a Yorkshireman, maffed in. So you're sat there, Raljian, in the caravan, and Yul, the dwarf druid, is sat there, and he's I'll describe him to you again. He's got he's wearing his green sort of like robes, and his long staff, sort of like branches and twigs that kind of come up into a curl which curves around this dark, almost black, but as he turns it slightly green gem in the middle. And he's got sort of braided, a long brown braided beard with like twigs and things in there. It's a little strange. It's almost like they're part of him, but they're not. He's got a slight green tinge to his skin as well, almost as if he has a little bit of fey within his in his dwarven visage. And you sort of leaned into him and you said, what was it you said?
I said, tell me everything.
Yeah. It's been a long couple of months, but the kid's gone mad. He's mounting our armies. He's telling everyone that they have to pick up arms. Anyone from the ages of 12, and that we're going to go to war on the kingdom. And it's not our way. He's gone to lengths of torturing and imprisoning anyone that disagrees with him.
Would you say that he is evil?
He turns and you appear at the door, Ayla. So, how long have you been stood there? Look, I think maybe the kid had some promise once, but I just can't see a good bone in his body.
Well, are all the tribes behind him?
Most of them, yeah. He's spitting out words about oppression and unfair and inequality, and he's making things. He's turning the tides. He knows that he's got the power. He knows that he's got the ability to overthrow the kingdom. He does. Have no second guesses on that one. He's got the numbers. He's got the surprise. And I know that your friend Bronwyn, after you guys left, I know that you know about the Amora Bastor. I know that you still know of its existence.
I mean, obviously this is bad news for the kingdom, but why do you care if the kingdom survives?
It's a funny thing about nature, boy. It's about balance. Okay, before the kingdom turned up 500 years ago, I was mere boy, but before they turned up, nature had overthrown this whole continent, and to be honest, the hand of Erithis was needed to bring some balance to it. The Gaia Moran were able to maintain things. We were able to make sure the tribes lived in peace. Yes, there were wars, of course, there are always wars. But for the last century at least, we've had some remnants of peace and balance. If Herion, Vicious Whisper, whatever he wants to call himself, if he manages to overthrow the kingdom and bring the continent back to, an overgrown continent, the balance will be out again. And it's one thing that I've sworn as a member of the Gaia Moran to maintain. Look, I know this is a lot to ask, but I'm starting to amount allies of my own, and I need to know if I can count on you.
I think the person you should really be asking is Ayla. He's got a much more personal stake in this than I do. I joined up with my friends, my companions, because I wanted to see the world, be an adventurer, but starting a revolution, fighting for this kind of cause, if it's needed from me, I'll do it. But Ayla, this is his brother. It's him that you need to talk to.
Well, where is he?
Just outside. They're all outside. The party, the group has changed a little. We've got a couple of new members, a couple of old members have left, but it's mostly, actually just me and Ayla that you'll recognise.
Very well, then let's meet them. See what kind of able bunch I've got. He stands up and starts to, he walks towards the door and sort of like taps it with his stick, and it opens up, and he steps down. And as you guys, I'll say that you guys have finished pillaging the bodies, and you see Yul there. You see this.
Another one.
Well, yeah, you see another dwarf. The dwarves that you've just been fighting, the Corrids, are much smaller than this guy. He's quite tall for a dwarf, but still dwarf size. Probably just a little smaller than you, Sal. He looks very different to these, and there's Ralgin sort of just behind him. He doesn't look like a threat, but you know.
I hide.
You hide. Give me a stealth check.
Okay, that's a 26.
He walks out and he doesn't even see you disappear.
Yes!
I see a dwarf and I poop darkness.
Damn it.
Battle.
The darkness sort of like fills the air and he goes, "What is going on?"
Drinks, it's fine. I know him, it's safe.
He extends his staff out and the gem on it glows and the darkness dissipates. He casts Dispel Magic. I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm here to recruit you.
Recruiters for what?
This has not been my usual experience when working with dealing with dwarves.
Ayla, he wants to overthrow the Vicious Whisper.
Overthrow is a little bit of a weaker word. We need to kill the little shit.
You want us to dispose of him?
Right.
Tell me...
Who's the Vicious Whisper? That sounds like some sort of kid who's ran away from home and is screaming that he hates his parents.
Not long ago, the Vicious Whisper lost his parents. Well, his mother. His father's a little bit more complicated than that. His father is actually an
archfey.
An archfey. You know this?
Yeah, it's
We've
well,
met him.
Yeah.
You've met Vyloth.
Yes.
You want me to kill Vyloth's kid?
That's the top and bottom of it, yes.
A smile is just going to creep up Grinx's face. I'm in. Yeah, sure.
Oh.
Now, Grinx, wait. Sorry, what?
That didn't take much. I am a little bit baffled at the moment, actually. You've met Vyloth and you're alive.
Yes, only just. It wasn't easy. We are in we have a working arrangement with him that we had to throw him a reception, some sort of with Bronwyn Regelstar. Is that right?
Well,
What?
Bronwyn wasn't mentioned.
No, not Bronwyn.
He was going to force Ayla to be a full elf unless he agreed to throw him a party. So far,
correct.
Ayla has yet to deliver on said promise.
So, potentially, if we need to kill his kid, we could kill his dad first.
You'd have a much better time trying to kill the kid than the dad.
Well, semantics. I mean, we could do the kid first, then do the dad. You wouldn't want to be on the archfey, would you?
Do you think that you're some sort of god?
Not yet.
Tell me about the Vicious Whisper. Tell me, why should we kill him? What reason have we got? That to kill someone is the ultimate thing. Why should we get rid of the Vicious Whisper?
I told your friend, he's been mounting armies against the kingdom. He's got most of the tribes on his side. The kingdom would not stand a chance against the armies that he's mounted. And it would definitely be an attack that comes by surprise, no matter how much Bronwyn thinks he knows. And yes, I have spoken to him. He thinks he knows everything, and he's too hot-headed to see what's actually coming. I tried explaining to him, but he didn't seem to take anything that I had to say seriously.
Yeah, that can be Bronwyn, all right. Yeah.
He's told me that he's going to go see the king about it, and I said, fine, go see the king, but you need to be more prepared than you are. Things are happening faster than they think.
So, you want us to kill him because he's too powerful and you think he'll take over?
It's not just that.
Go on then.
A lot of the
I'm
people that
all
are working for him are working against their will.
right. So he has slaves. Slaves, yes.
Yes.
Anything else?
He kind of turns his head. He's killing people.
Why is he killing people? What reason has he got? What motive?
We've met him before. He's just lashing out by
Anyone
the
that
sound
he
of it.
can't enslave. Anyone that's too strong a will.
Ralston, I appreciate we've met him before. I'm just trying to gather as much evidence as I possibly can before we, as a group, decide on what we do. And it's probably more beneficial for our new party members that we gather as much evidence as possible so we can discuss it rationally and come to a decision as a whole party.
Sounds like fun.
What? You can see him looking around, and then he sees you, Sal, sort of just.
Does he?
Or he doesn't see you. He hears your voice.
Yeah.
Like from behind a rock somewhere. He's like,
Yes.
what was that?
Oh, that was just Sal.
Yes. Hello.
Have you made yourself visible yet?
No.
Voice from the ether. Are you in on this?
Sure.
Huh.
You had me at murder.
He looks at Ralston and Aylar and says, "You hang with a different crew." I mean, I know the orc seemed bloodthirsty before, and the goblin was quite happy to take things into their own hands. But I mean, that was a little bit too easy.
Rounds are going to drown.
Say that again.
Drows are going to drown.
I mean, that's a little bit of an oversimplification, don't you think? Have you ever been to Nayloon?
No, don't want to.
Oh, it's a beautiful place.
I spent a lot of time in Monolari.
They're not remotely the same.
No, they're not. I've been there as well. Before
You have?
Oh yes, before it was before the unfortunate event of the drowning. I get around quite a lot.
And you haven't been there since?
No, it's underwater. You know, it's
Sure.
Wait, what?
He looks at you inquisitively.
Does he?
Yeah. Oh, he doesn't. He's going to listen insightfully to. Oh no, he doesn't. Natural one.
So tell me more about Nayloon or whatever it's called.
Well, I'll tell you on the way when we're back on the road.
Anyway, I probably spent too much time here. The spell that I've cast doesn't hold me here for very long. I'm not actually physically here. And as he says that, you kind of see a shimmer across him, almost as if he is actually an illusion. Says, it's difficult to concentrate on this for very long, and the visage I've got of myself where I am currently in a meeting with several members of the Gaimaran Council. I've been quiet for too long. I'm going to have to go.
Before you go, what makes you think that we can kill this vicious whisper?
I'm not saying that you can do it alone. I'm saying I need your help to do it.
How?
I'm still working on that
How?
part. I'm still working on that part.
Okay. Well, if you find out more, let us know, and then we can make a decision as a party.
One last thing. You say you're throwing a party for Viloth.
That's the agreement, yes.
Make it a good one.
and tie in his son, who will attend, and then that will give us the opportunity. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Do what you wish on this one, but there are several ways you can go about it. You can either use this party as a way to assassinate the patron, much like your friend over there has been saying. You could use it to befriend the patron, make him take away the Vicious Whisper's power. Or you can use it to invite the Vicious Whisper to the party and deal with it that way. There are many options. I think what you've... this party that you've managed to get yourself into might actually work to our advantage.
Okay. Something for us to think about and discuss.
I will get back to you on what I need. But can I count on you when the moment comes?
I mean,
Well,
if you are.
Yeah, we need to find out more. I mean, what is in it for us for a start?
If you really
Some
need it for
actions are their own reward.
the
Yeah,
voice
I mean,
that I hear from on the wind seems to speak truths.
I mean, preventing war is a pretty good reason to be on board.
It is, but and I agree, Raljin. However, you come from a position of wealth. Many of us in this party don't, and it's not necessarily wealth I'm after, but we're taking an incredible risk and doing a huge service here. Surely that comes with some sort of reward. It doesn't have to be.
Whoa. You said you was his brother.
Yeah, but we're not. We don't get on. We don't.
No, that's fine. If we off him, wouldn't that make you king, or have you got more siblings? That you know?
Yes, there are more. Yeah, of course there are more.
But
You want us to kill the others too? We could do that.
No. These are on his dad's side. They're unrelated to the Vicious Whisper, so they don't really factor in.
Eventually, if we get rid of all of them, he'll be first in line, right?
The question of lineage to the leadership, I would say throne, there isn't a throne, to the leadership of Verto and the guy Moran is more than just a bloodline. Yes,
So what would be
Kill
in
some
it for us?
strangers
your
too.
mother's blood does count, as she was the previous leader of Verto. However, Vyloff does have a lot of sway in who holds that position. If Vyloff deems you unworthy, then he may just kill you and put someone else in his place. In your place.
So we circle back round to killing Vyloff. I see. I like this.
Killing Vyloff is going to be a tricky feat, like I've said.
We'll have to have some special help if we want to do that.
Very.
Yeah. We maybe want to bide our time with that.
Think about it. If you do change your mind, if you're not in on this, just message me somehow. But for now, can I count on you?
What do you think, party?
I mean, if it's to prevent a war, I'm in. If you're okay with us going up against, I know you're not close, but if you're okay with us going up against your brother.
Well, Raljin, as you said previously, we have had experiences with him, and I have nothing in common with him nothing that I like in common apart from the obvious, our bloodline. I don't think he's a particularly nice person.
And it sounds like Grinks, you're already on board because it'll screw his dad over.
Oh yeah. Oh, I lost big time.
Sal, what do you think?
Oh, I'm in.
It's not going to take much. What's the word? Persuasion.
Persuasion. No.
What about your wizard friend over there? He nods.
Jan, pay attention.
Jan just nods.
Oh, he's so cool.
Goes back to posing, wind in his hair.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, he's like an anime character.
Oh, what?
What? I don't. Sorry, what?
Right.
Talking to myself. I zoned out.
I'm going to have to take my leave, but I'm glad to see that I've got some allies. I do have some more people to speak to, but that'll have to be for another day. Okay. He taps his stick. I'll be in touch. And as he says that, his body fades, and the last thing you see is the green stone disappear as he vanishes from sight.
Interesting.
I'd really like to know how he cancelled my darkness when he wasn't even here.
He's very powerful.
Pretty strong.
I like to know how he just found us. I mean, we're not exactly walking around
Oh yeah.
trying to make our presence known. If he can find us,
We're stood on soil, it wouldn't take an awful lot.
Also, we were quite loud over the last few minutes.
Okay, well,
Did he come out of the cart?
Yeah, he was waiting in the cart.
That's unnerving. It's weird when people just turn up, I say, from next to bricks.
I can't poop any more darkness, instead I'm just going to kind of squeak and then jump into the underbrush.
That never gets old. Right, where are we going next?
Well, back on the road, I guess.
Yeah, Jan just says, I mean, maybe I think we need to head to Verto and see if we can find out more about where we need to go next.
Does anyone need to rest? I'm all right, but I don't know if you magic lot.
I mean, I could do with some rest, but I mean, we're only a couple of hours away, I think. So
You could rest in the cart while we keep an eye out.
I'm sure when we get to Westera that we can rest up there. I'm sure they'll have like a tavern or something. Then we can find this Professor Kai Somerled cartographer person that we're supposed to look for.
Okay, I guess we'll get moving then. I start heading towards the cart. Lynx, come on.
I'm going to catch up to Ranger. And as we're walking, I'm just going to kind of bump his shoulder. Just say, Your dad's in the kingdom. Might not be a bad thing if we can get a move on and sort this out. You really don't want him being caught in the capital with all this shit going on.
No. Yeah, my dad's a tough guy. I'm sure he's okay, but I won't lie. If we can help Jan with his whatever it is, I wouldn't mind going to check up on him. Or I don't suppose you know a message, do you?
Okay, I'm more things go boom.
Things go boom. Okay.
I'm sure he'll be fine. I mean, you seem, he's got a nice carriage. Oh, also, there's a rug on the floor. Don't touch it. Oh, well, just don't speak to it.
Okay. I mean, do you go around talking to rugs a lot?
I don't know. I've got to work on it. I've got to figure it out.
I mean, it's a rug. It goes on the ground and looks nice.
I'm going to just whisper in his ear, it's a flying carpet. I know. It's going to be amazing. I just need to figure it out.
Okay. Cool.
Looks like the merchant isn't going to be needing it anymore. So,
I think the last thing where you sort of left off is you'd got it, but you don't know the command word.
I don't have identify, so I need to get identify, because if Ash is going to be away for a while, we need someone with identify.
Do you not have identify?
No. No, in hindsight, I should have got that instead of enlarge and reduce. But hindsight's 2020.
Does Jan have it? Or do you want to trust Jan with it?
I don't think Jan does have it, but I'm not necessarily keeping it a secret. And if you was following along, Sal, you'd have probably heard that because I'm far too excited at the prospect of a flying carpet.
Oh.
I don't know. Let me see if Jan's character sheet is on here. Then I might be able to see if he has it. And if he does, then I'll allow you to use it. Let's type in Jan. There we go. See if I can find the character sheet. I'm sure he sent it to me on WhatsApp. Not there. Dun dun dun. Not there. Sent lots of messages. Not there. Not there.
What level spell is it? First.
Identify. I'm not entirely sure. I think it's a first level spell.
I've got his character sheet because we was doing some shenanigans with.
Right.
Identify is a first level divination.
Yeah, he doesn't have that.
No, he doesn't. No, he's got illusionary script, magic missile, disguise self, and color spray. Unfortunately, identify is not one of his spells either. So no, you can't. You can't find it that way. So unfortunately, but yeah, you may be able to find it another way. But at the moment, it's just a carpet that doesn't fly because you don't know the command word. Right, okay, so you chuck everything in the back of the cart and you head on your way for the rest of the journey.
Before we go, are we taking the body to Westera, seeing if we can get some coin for him, or are we just going to bury him here before we go?
Oh, the guy from last week.
Yeah, the merchant, the one that got smushed.
Well, he's already kind of buried, so we'd have to dig him up. So it's whether you can be bothered.
I'll stick with the cat.
But-
I'll
Stick with the
I'm assuming Ayla might want to do some sort of, I don't know, goody two shoes thing, but
Wait.
I just feel it's important that throughout life we go on the right track. We don't do things that would be seen to be evil.
Like the murder.
I kind of look off to the side, confused, and think, sort of whisper to myself, Ayla's the goody two shoes?
Hey, I wasn't there for when he covered a hotel room in pee. Okay, so as far as I'm concerned,
Right, the hotel room covered with pee was a hasty move to try and identify and capture somebody so we could prove their innocence.
all right.
Anywho, let's get on the road.
You tell that to the poor person who has to clean that room.
All right, it's not exactly angelic behaviour, but I wouldn't categorise it as evil.
Fair, okay, yeah. Neutral.
Yeah, and that's what I am.
He was doing it. He was doing it to try and find an invisible person.
That's right. Yeah.
So
I guess that's the non-magic version of fairy fire.
Yeah.
There you are. I
Slightly different colour.
Why do I picture Ayla just carry around like a sheepskin full of urine every time he wants to find out if someone's invisible or not?
I am a non-magic magician. Okay, Thornseller. We can't all be magical like yourself.
Oh yeah, I was about to say I'm non-magical too, but yes, I forgot. Yes, I am magical.
yes.
We've been through this, Thornseller. You are very magical.
I am.
Okay.
I am. I still can't decide if this bit is worth it, but yes.
Are you driving, Raljin?
Yep.
Alright, I'll get up on the front with you, but I'm going to actually take a short rest and use Arcane Recovery.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm going to get back one of my third level spell slot.
Okay.
Ooh.
Right. So, you're heading back on the road. You're only a couple of hours out of Westera. It won't take you very long on the road, and yeah, you'll complete your short rest before you get there. So you travel the rest of the way. Eventually the sort of like the muddied roads turn, and the sort of the thicket that you're travelling through turns into a much wide open space and cobblestone, which is a telltale sign of a settlement very close by. If I can get my map open, and or I can just have a look at it on there. Yeah, so you head on through a thick wooded area, but it sort of opens up and you see the cobblestone. You can hear rushing water, and you're actually travelling along sort of like high cliff sides, which actually runs. You can see it sort of like falls down into like a canyon where a river runs along the side of the mountains, which you can see to the west of where you're walking. And the city of Westera, or not the city, the township of Westera, is built just sort of like at the bottom of this mountain, where the bifurcation of two rivers come together. You actually see it from the top of a cliff before you actually come into it. So you actually see the town and in its whole glory. It's almost circular, the wall that sort of goes around it, with a northeast and western gate. You can also see from where you are as well, quite clearly in the distance, the Knockabacka Mountains, huge, and that almost takes up the whole of the northern horizon from where you are. Quite a glorious sight, to be honest. You can see it from almost anywhere in the continents, almost, and depends on how far east, west, north, and south you go. But from where you are, it almost takes up the whole of the northern horizon. But as you sort of look down on the road that kind of leads down towards Westera, you see this circular township. Quite busy with buildings, smokestacks that you can see sort of like pluming, as obviously fires have been lit in some of the buildings, and chimneys, pluming out smoke. But in the centre, the sort of key feature of this town, there is a tower that sort of comes up from the centre. It sort of comes to the top and has a bell tower at the top. It comes up quite high. I'm trying to think of a real world place. Probably looking at actually, think Lord of the Rings, one of the two towers' height. That kind of height. So it's quite tall. It's a grey stone building, and it's actually the home of Kai Sommerled. He's the cartographer. This is the cartographer's tower. He is the lord of this town, so he gets quite an established building. As you make your way down towards the town and towards what would be the the western gate, you are sort of like approached by two guards who are standing on guard at the gates, and they have steel armor with purple under armor, and helmets that sort of able to come around and show their faces. It looks like this is new armor, not like it. It almost looks like the steel armor that they're wearing is brand new, and doesn't like they wear it very often. In fact, you can see one of the guards is actually adjusting his helmet quite a lot, and like adjusting the strap quite a lot, as if it's not something that he's used to wearing. Go on.
As we get close enough for them to start making out our details, I pull my hood up because we're once again in the
I'm going to yank his hood down as he does that, and I'm going to just kind of backhand him in the chest lightly and just be proud of who you are, kid. Don't hide it. And I'm just going to lounge in the front seat, just literally put my legs up on the top and just be as relaxed as anything.
I try and subtly pull my hood up, whereas before it was quite a sharp moment. I kind of
I put my hood up and I look at Grinks, and I put my hand on the handle of my knife.
I'll just shake my head.
As the cart pulls up a little bit closer towards the gates, you see, one of the guards approach you. I don't know where my words are tonight. One of the guards approaches, and he kind of puts his hand on the hilt of his sword. It's not drawn. He kind of taps the side of the caravan, looks impressed at the sight of it. He looks like he's looking up and down, much like when you see someone looking at a new car that they really want, and he's looking at this caravan. He's like really impressed. He looks up at you, Grinks, and Raljin on the top seat. He says, "So, what brings you to Westera? What's your business, please? Nice caravan, by the way."
Thank you. We're here for some research purposes. We're adventurers.
Okay, I'm gonna need to see some. You got any papers to prove that, please?
Papers?
Papers. We've literally just left Ashnoke yesterday.
Left Ashnoke. Just give me a second. That rings bells.
If it helps, I present, and I'm going to stand up and I'm going to give a full courtly presentation and bow and gesture to Raljin. This is Raljin Arateeth Whitewood, son of Camden Whitewood, and Lady Vidiana Arateeth Whitewood. We're coming on a research mission. We're looking to speak to the Cartographer.
It's a wonderful presentation.
Performance that was 19 on dice, 21 plus 2, 23.
Okay, he seems impressed by the thing, by your presentation and the way that you've kind of gone about it. And he doesn't seem threatened by the fact that you are drow or anything at this point. He waves over his the other guard, who's kind of like adjusts his helmet and kind of runs over. He kind of comes over and says, "Do we have to wear this armor? It's chafing." He just says, "Just straighten up. What did Lord Somerled say about visitors he was going to be having today? Did he mention anything about drow?" Yeah, and the other guy says, "Yeah, something. He said there was going to be 3 drow. There was going to be an elf, another elf or a half elf, another half elf. I believe that was it. He said something about a cat as well." And then Lynx kind of pops out and goes, "Oh, that's me!" And he's like, "Whoa.
Oh yeah, she talks.
Ah, she's a meme.
Yeah, Lord Somerled is definitely expecting these people. He said it was something as a favour to Windweaver or something. I don't know. He talks. He doesn't really make sense much these days, but he's the Lord. I'm gonna head back to my post. I'll open the gate while I'm down there." And the other guy just says, "Well, yeah, I knew it rang bells. Lord Somerled is expecting you. So, I mean, I can point you in the direction of where you're going, but it's not exactly difficult to see. If you take the road straight, the main road straight down to the centre, there is you'll come to an inner wall. If you just speak to the guards there, they're expecting you as well, and they should let you straight through, and you should be able to speak to Lord Somerled from there. I will caution you, though. We have had word from the kingdom that we're expecting trouble from some of the tribes in the area, which is," and he kind of pulls his armor up, "which is why we're dressed in this threatening manner. But just make sure that you keep your heads down, stay out of trouble, and then hopefully things should be okay. But we're a little bit on high alert at the moment. A lot of guards are expecting trouble, so don't make any." Okay. And the other one's gone over. He's opened up the gates, and he leads you through with your massive dire horses through the main gates into the town of Westera. It is a town, but it's almost big enough to be a city. It's got huge stone walls that surround it, and sort of like built into the mountain which is close by the Emerald Peaks. The woodland that sort of surrounds it is a very pretty, picturesque view. The buildings are quite old-fashioned, old-style buildings. It looks like it's a very old town as you're going through, as if it's been here for quite some time. But it's in itself one of the newest towns within the kingdom. This is the point at which the kingdom stopped expanding in Westera. So this is the westernmost point. And it's celebrated as that as well. It's actually celebrated as a beacon of peace, where at this point where the tribes and the kingdom had got to a point where war needs to stop here, and this is where we need to stop, and we need to let each other have our own land. And this is what Westera is kind of celebrated as that central point where tribes and the human. Where the elven tribes or the other tribes and the sort of like the human colonizers, I guess, come to an agreement, and this is their central point. There's actually festivals and everything that are held here in celebration of that, and so it's quite a prominent township within the kingdom.
Bill, have I been here before? It's not a massive stretch to think maybe the menagerie passed through.
Possibly. You may have passed through here to do some of your shows, yeah. So you may recognise it. So yeah, there are kingdom flags that fly here, but it's not so much neutral, but it's a peaceful town. You travel through the town, and you do notice there's a good collection of shops, taverns, and other places, blacksmiths and other things that you could partake in and do lots of things that you could do here. As you get towards the centre, you do reach the inner wall. The inner wall circles around and sort of like goes off. They're pictured kind of like the York Wall, which sort of goes off in other direction. It's not like a complete circle. It's kind of jags around, but there's a road that kind of goes around and houses that are built up against it. But you lead towards the main gate of that, and two guards look. They see the cart as if they've had a message. They kind of nod to each other and pull a lever, and the ding 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 ding. The gates begins to open, and you are let straight through. There is a winding road from here that leads you through some very decorative gardens, trees that have been cut into the shapes of horses, and just very nice plants and flowers and lovely, beautiful gardens, fountains. That leads up towards this tower. The base of the tower is huge. And it's more of it is a homestead, but it's also like a public garden. People can come in here and view along within different hours of the day, and you do see some tourists sort of like walking around and watching you guys as you're led through. And there is actually just behind you. You notice there is a horse with someone on it, sort of like following you as you're led through to the main sort of like door, which is there's almost like the pathway comes into like a half moon shape, which comes around to where the main door is, and your cart is pulled up to the side, and it comes to a halt. As the cart comes to a halt, and you guys begin to sort of like to get off, an older gentleman opens the doors and begins to walk down the steps. He's dressed in blue and yellow robes, which hang over his hands, and he kind of has his hands together. He's got dark hair, but he's got like grey that can be seen around the roots of his hair. So it looks like he actually dyes his hair black to try and keep himself looking younger, but you can see that he's quite aged. he's got a youthful smile on his face, even though he's quite old. You probably picture him being something like 60 or 70 years old. And this gentleman, he approaches you all, and just looks around and says, "Is there a yarn here? Which one of you is yarn?"
He's in the back. I knock on the carriage.
The yarn gets out and says, "Oh, hello. I'm trying to roleplay yarn now. We were sent here by Master Windweaver, Vinvia Windweaver, with said that you might be able to help us on our quest with some maps regarding something in the Knockabacka Mountains." Kai just says, yes, Vinvia did mention that he'd have some people stopping by, and coming to speak maps, and I'd do anything for that old fool. How is he anyway?
He's good. A little crotchety, same as always, but
Hey,
yeah.
Is it Raojin?
I pull my hood back. That's me.
Raojin Whitewood. Sorry, Raojin Arateeth Whitewood.
Yeah, that's me.
You're Camden and Vidiana's boy.
Yes, sir.
It's an absolute pleasure to meet you. I've heard so much about you from your mother and your father. It is a pleasure to meet you. You're one of two, aren't you?
At the moment,
Oh, are they trying for more?
drow families tend to be big.
Huh. I see. Please, come on up. We can have tea, and I'll you can tell me what maps you need, and I can provide you everything that you might need. Everything that I have, anyway. Please, come on up. And he turns and begins to walk. He is actually holding his hand. He's actually got a staff in his hand as well. It's a long wooden staff which comes in. And it's got like an orb, like a giant pearl orb in the top of it.
When he turns his back on us, because we've had a formal invitation to tea, Raljin makes a very vague attempt to tidy himself up, and he ties his hair up into a high knot.
Okay, excellent. Is anyone else doing anything?
I guess I'll just follow everyone's lead.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Is this tower in the town or outside of the town?
Oh, it's in the centre of the town. It's the very centre.
This place is bigger than Ashenoak, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Should we go shopping?
The circle that you're in, the wall that kind of encompasses the tower, this bit is probably about the size of Ashenoak. And then the town itself expands further beyond this wall. So, yeah, the bit that you're in is probably about the size of Ashenoak, and the tower itself is probably about the size of the centre of Ashenoak.
Yeah, Salah's going to stick close to their companions.
Okay. So what we'll do there is, as you're leading in and heading in for tea, we'll come back and we'll actually have tea and pee. And we'll come back and after a 10 or 15 minute break, and we'll find out what's going to be happening next, and you can have a conversation with Kai Somerled or Lord Somerled and find out what's going to happen there. It'd be nice if Yarn did turn up. It would make this so much easier. But
I mean, if not, it's going to be a long half of us all just like accidentally breaking this guy's teapots and tripping over each other to try and be polite.
He's
fiddling
done
with
it to
Raljan's
you
hair.
again.
Oh dear.
He's done it to you again.
Yeah, he did this with. We had this with our last campaign. I did a story specifically around his other character, and we.
Wasn't here for it.
He wasn't here.
I mean,
for that.
maybe he's trying to tell you something.
I don't know. Maybe. Anyway, we'll see. He might turn up. Anyway, right. we'll come back in about 10 or 15 minutes, and after a quick tea and pee, hopefully an okay. Right, okay. See you all soon.
You said D&D felt like that, but I've got to listen to this now.
Hello and welcome back to Call It Crits. We've had a lovely break. We've got, I would say tea and pee, but I think it's more juice or water and pee tonight because it's hot, and I'm going to keep going on about it. Okay, so well, last we left off, just before the break, the party had made their way. They're on their way to Westera, and they had a conversation with Yul, the dwarf member of the Gaimaram, who was adamant that he needed to help. You needed your help in killing Herium, because he is out of control. He's mounting an army to fight against the kingdom, an army that the kingdom will not be able to fight back against easily. And he's doing it by basically getting people to as slaves, basically. They're doing it against their will. And specifically monsters and other things like that he's able to recruit, on top of actual, on top of people as well. So, yeah, he's you've kind of said that you will help him out, and you started roughly formulating a plan to do with Violoff and this party, that you've got to plan for him, and however that goes, that should be rather interesting. Almost like a red wedding kind of scenario, I'm picturing.
I like it. Like it.
Use it as a distraction. Violoff looks over here while we off his son over there.
Maybe. That'll be an interesting fight, I think, if that happens. So, but after that, you've kind of moved on. And you've headed to Westera. Just to describe Westera for Andy, who has joined us. Thank you for joining us. I know you've had work tonight, but it's good to see you. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I just said thank you and then just made it all good.
No problem. No problem. So you've made it to Westera. The town itself is built on the side of a mountain, and on the horizon from where you can from Westera you can actually see the Knockabacka Mountains, which almost takes up the entire northern horizon from where you are. The centre of Westera has a huge tower. I compared it to the height of one of the two towers from Lord of the Rings, that kind of height, grey brick stone, and this is where Kai Somerled lives. He is the lord of this town. Westera itself, the history, from what I've been through with the other guys, is it's the western edge of the kingdom, and it's where the kingdom stopped spreading into sort of like tribal area, and it's actually used as a celebration of peace, this particular place, because it's where the tribes and the kingdom were able to come to sort of like a compromise on whose land was whose and how they can live peacefully. So it's kind of like the significance of this place. So yeah, you guys have headed up towards the tower on the inner circle of this town, and Kai, an older gentleman, long dark hair that you can tell that he dyes. It kind of comes down to it's kind of quite long hair, like neck length hair. That he kind of dyes. You can see there's almost like a badger stripe across the top. He's quite he's got like an old face, but almost like a young smile, if that's the best way I can kind of describe him. He looks like he has a lot of youth, but his body doesn't look like it has a lot of youth, if you get my drift. He invites, he takes note, has of you all, and invites you in for tea. You enter into the building, and as you get in, you do notice to the left of you there is a doorway or an archway that has some stairs. And for a moment there is this fear that you're probably going to have to climb those stairs to get to where you need to go, and this is a very big tower. However, Kai just kind of, or Lord Summerled, just kind of looks and says, "Oh, don't worry, we're not taking the stairs. Haven't used those things in quite some time." He takes his staff and dunk, dunk, taps it on the floor on a stone, a specific stone. It's discoloured and it actually has a bit of a dint in it, as if it's tapped several times. It's been tapped several times before, a little bit of wear. And as he does that, a platform in front of you just kind of begins to levitate slightly off the ground within this almost like a circular like tube that kind of goes up, kind of like a stone circular tube. This platform kind of lifts up slightly. He says, "Would anyone like a lift?" He then walks forward and steps on to this platform. Anyone else coming?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you all step onto this this platform. It's big enough to fit all of you, and he takes his staff and then taps it again on another stone, very similar in wear, on the platform, and you all suddenly begin to shoot up, and it's almost like your stomach kind of goes down. She goes like, whoa! And some of you will not be used to this kind of movement at all. It's straight up.
While we're doing this, can I cast Detect Magic? And I'm going to keep this on for the next 10 minutes.
Okay. Joe, it's really funny, actually. The stone that you're on, you cast Detect Magic, and there's a familiar magical aura from this stone, and something that is on Aylar's possession.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
So there's something that you know how similar magical items or similar magical spells have have the same aura. There's something on Aylar's possession in Aylar's bag that has the same magical aura as this particular platform that you're on.
I forgot about that.
You're also getting a lot of blips as you're going up. There's rooms all around you, and you're not stopping like halfway up this tower. You are going all the way up. So as you're going, you're kind of catching in the sort of like auras through walls and stuff, all over the place. His staff, very magical. Himself, there's something magical about him as well. And yeah, so it's just there's a lot of magic happening around this building and scattered all over the place. And it's quite overwhelming as you cast this spell. The lights on the wall, the stones that cast light on the wall, they are magical, giving off illumination magic, and all sorts. You eventually get to a point where the stone slows down and stops at the top of this tower, and you can actually it's quite a sight, because you come up into an area where it's stone archways and there is glass in between the stone archways, and they overlook the entire town and northwards towards the Knockabacka Mountains. It's almost like a living picture frame, but just like the panoramic view of the whole of the horizon, and the town below looks like a toy town from where you are now. Kai kind of walks forward and says, "Yes, it's a beautiful sight, isn't it? I don't grow tired of it. It is wonderful. This whole continent." And you can tell he kind of looks at himself, but as if he's not looking at the things right in front, but almost the things past that. Almost as if he's just looking beyond everything. As if he sees more than what others see. Is the best way I can describe it. He then turns and begins to walk towards like a wooden door and says, "Anyway, tea?
Please.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay. He walks forward and opens up the door, and it leads into like a living room area. There's carpeted or rugged floors, a fireplace, a few like chairs that are around the fireplace with little tables next to them. There's a cabinet with what looks to be bottles, like brown liquid, which is very likely to be liquor. Very fine liquor, as it's in crystal-lined bottles. And several different types of glasses: wine glasses, ale tankards, whiskey tumblers. On this particular. In fact, Grinks, your eye catches it straight away, as being something that you probably notice straight away in any homestead. There is like another archway that leads into a separate room, which is where Kai takes himself, and starts to. You hear a whistling sound coming from in there. You hear a voice says, "Just make yourselves comfortable. It'll just be a minute." And you can hear this whistling sound. You can imagine it's probably a kettle going off as he's making some tea. You hear the pouring of water.
Are we kind of at the top of the tower?
You are at the very top of the tower. Yes, this is where his home is, right at the top.
In that
Phil,
case,
is it the box that's giving off the aura of
Sorry?
the magical item? Is it the box? I've got this box that if you say the word, it flies up.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, but you obviously don't know what Grinks has seen, but
Oh, okay, yeah.
but that's what Grinks has noticed. Yeah.
Phil, you said that he gives the impression that he can see things that the rest of us can't see, or something along that line.
Yeah.
So you have to excuse my wording. This heat has just absolutely wiped me out today.
I'm the same.
Can I insight into that? See if there's anything behind it.
Okay.
Okay.
Give me a roll.
17.
Okay. From what you can kind of gather is it's less of a fact that he can actually see what people can't see. I think it's the fact that he has seen more than others, and he can actually picture what's beyond what you can just see. Sorry.
So it's closer to, it's like experience through wisdom, isn't it? Than as opposed to any magical abilities or anything.
Yes, it is more of an experience and wisdom than magical. But you can kind of see that with his age and his experience, from what you guys see in this amazing sight, this panoramic view of the Knucklebacker Mountains and the landscape around it, and even just the continent in its vastness, he looks like he can see more beyond it. Just as if it's almost like he looks past what's just there and into more, if you know what I mean.
while he's out of the room, I'm going to bamf Nyx out of the window and have her sit on the top so she's within 100 feet of me.
Okay.
Standing instructions are to keep an eye out for any druids or any movement or anything along those lines.
Okay. Another thing you notice in this room is there are maps, hand-drawn maps of various different things, towns, woodland areas, whole continents, whole areas of continents that are framed and take up parts of the wall. Some are massive, like massive tapestries that have been hand-drawn. There is one actually that's the whole continent of Accalia, everything from the tip of Oskia right down to the southern lands of Wadosa, and you can see that whole shape, and you can see it's sort of like marked with little almost like red pins, and they scatter everywhere, just all over it, and you can probably kind of gather that these are places that he's been. You start to count them, maybe out of curiosity, but then lose count after a good 100, maybe even more. pins of significant places.
In Monolari?
Yes. There is a pip where the Drowned Caverns is now, yes. But you can see that on this map, it is the Drowned Caverns and not Monolari. So he's been there after the drowning, basically.
Hey,
To that area.
while we're waiting, I just had to go. Hey, Grinks, I heard that a wizard's familiar can change shape.
Yeah.
But yours is always a raven. Is that just like personal preference, or?
It's her preference. She doesn't like anything else.
Okay.
I was very, very young when I summoned her, and I wasn't quite ready, and I ended up with a Fey spirit with attitude, shall we say. She does her thing. She looks after me.
After a little while, and you can kind of hear the sort of like chankling sound, like a clinking sound of cups, as Kai sort of comes out with a tray, and he kind of places it down on the table and says, "Did you not want to sit down?" More comment. I mean, I'm going to sit down, and he places the tray down and then sits in quite a chair with quite a high back, sort of a red velvet chair with quite a high back and big arms, and he sits down. He's like, ah.
I must confess, I was having a look at your map over here. Got a pin in the Drowned Caverns. You don't have Mornalara map on there.
Oh, unfortunately, I never got to visit Mornalari before it was destroyed. I did manage to go there and visit the Drowned Caverns. Well, I stood upon the edge of the lake, and I kind of contemplated what might have been if I'd actually got to visit there and map it, but sadly.
If we have time later after my friend Jan has spoke to you, I'm quite happy to show you what she was like in all of her glory.
You were from Mornalari.
I'm gonna cast Minor Illusion. I presume there's a coffee table or something in front of him.
There is, yes.
I'm gonna cast Minor Illusion on there and kind of show the city.
He puts down the tea that he was drinking just next to the illusion. Says, "Wow. Now that would have been a sight. Now, I've visited hundreds of places, mapped hundreds and hundreds of towns and cities and villages and settlements and hamlets, and I mean, I've been to Neloon, and Neloon is wonderful and all, but it's built within an old gnomish, an old serpent temple. It was something. The Drow have definitely added their own architecture there, but to see something like this,
you notice that Raljan seems kind of put out at his dismissal of Neloon.
Sal is
go on.
looking at the little city and not saying anything.
Okay. He does notice that you kind of look, and he says, "Oh, I don't mean any offence by that. Neloon is beautiful in its own right, and a wonderful sanctuary for the Drow after the awful destruction of Urarangoth and Mornalari, and they've taken a lot of their architecture from Crindac, from where they originate. I have been to Crindac, beautiful as well. although that was quite some decades ago, I have to admit. But
if we have time later, I'm quite happy. There's some areas of the city I never went to, but I'm quite happy to take you through layer by layer what I remember. You can map
that
it
would
if you
be wonderful. I mean, it's not a map that anyone would ever use, but I guess just for my own records, it would be almost like completing something. Thank you.
like. I'm going to sit down and take a cup of tea.
He offers. There's enough cups on the table for everybody, and he just kind of points to the teapot that's there. He says, "It should be brewed by now. I've gone for elven tea. It's one of my favourites. I had a friend that used to carry it around in a pouch, amongst other things. But the elven tea was the thing that he really sold me on. God bless that Balthazar Harkenstone from Illyria. Anyway, you, Jan, you were here on a specific request by Vinvia, weren't you?
Yes. Now, just out of character, let me just get all my notes and stuff back up. That's fine.
No problem. It was good to see, good to hear from Vinvia. It had been quite some time that I'd heard from any of the Wandering Wolves, to be honest. I mean, I do keep in touch with Vidiana and Camden whenever they pass through, but I mean, the others have kind of fallen off the radar, split up as it were.
I mean, I could tell you where most of them are.
I know where they
stay
are. I've mapped most of their towns, just not where they've been there. Yeah, just everyone's always busy these days. And an adventurer's life is you only have so much of it in you, and once you start to age, it does it disappears. Although your father is been looking good recently. He did pass through briefly. I only got to see him for an hour or two. He seemed to be in a bit of a hurry.
Yeah, he's some family business. And yeah, my let's just say my dad's got a bit of the fey about him these days.
Well, he mentioned he was going to go see the king, so I was I've met the previous kings. I've only ever met King Caspian Devastra II once, and that was only in briefing when I passed over some maps. But it seems like he has his head on straight anyway. So, what maps did you say? Were you wanting to see particularly?
So, can I get my documents out now?
Yeah, of course.
I'll get them. So, from while we've been travelling, etc., on and off, I've put together a shot list of keynotes that sits at the front. So
here is my PowerPoint presentation.
I use PowerShell to correlate it as well. So I'll give him the keynotes and then sort of hand that over. So hold it out for him to take it.
Thank you.
And then we'll explain. Well, I'll explain the back. So I've been and was looking at old books, etc. Blah blah blah. We brought stuff out, and then the chats that we had with Vin.
He'll have a look through the documents. Says, so you're searching for a certain item. You're wanting to have maps for this particular area of the Norkabaka Mountains, yes?
Yes. The thing that I've personally been struggling with is understanding why they've moved such distances.
Well, that was one thing that Vinvir was most perplexed by as well, but he liked to buy into the idea that the mountains were moving. Personally, I don't know what to believe with it, but I guess his his theories do have some merit, and there are a lot of people that believe that the what they call the Gardeners of Melora do get up and move every half millennia or so. Personally, I've being a geographer and a man of magic and science, I guess. I personally think it's more tectonics. Mountains don't necessarily get up and move, but they shift, and as the Earth moves, as we are. We're on the borders of two tectonic plates here. You see, it might be too much for you to really understand, but I guess the Gardeners of Melora theory has some merit. I guess a lot of people say that they can see the footprints of the gardeners as they walk from place to place. These are all cracks within the continent's landscape. I've mapped quite a few of them myself. Beautiful forest areas with very picturesque lakes and magic, actual magic that kind of spills out of every orifice. It's beautiful, really.
Could I see these maps?
Of course. Just give me a moment. He kind of steps up and walks on over to. There's like a chest of drawers and just underneath a cabinet that he goes over, and he pulls out this drawer, and it's huge. It's a massive drawer that kind of pulls out, and you can see inside. He's got some thin layers of like varnished wood that he lifts up, and underneath he's got like paper, like maps, and he's lifting them up. It's almost like a filing system. On each one there's like a different symbol, and he's lifting them up, and it kind of gets to a certain point, and he goes here, and he pulls out, and it comes out perfectly straight out of this cabinet, like perfectly straight. It's flimsy paper, but it comes out perfectly straight in his hand, and he takes it and begins to roll it slightly, just as he goes to carry it. It's too big for him to just carry himself. He takes it over to a special table that he's got specifically for maps, for his cartography and for displaying them and for editing them and whatnot. And he places the partially rolled map on there, rolls it across, and tucks the corners into these specially made kind of flaps that come down, and in order to not damage the maps, he keeps them in very, very good condition. He beckons you all over around this table, and you all fit around it quite nicely. In fact, there's ample room around this table. He says, so this is probably the largest scale map that I have of the area. It shows this here, and he points down and says, this here is the land, the town of Westera. This is where we are now, and it's at the southernmost point of the map that he's pointing on. He says, and if you take note, here, 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 and he's kind of pointing to what would be no bigger than really the size of his of the end of his end of his index finger. Small, what look to be highly floral areas, the way that he's kind of drawn them on the map anyway, and they kind of almost go in a straight line from Westera, or the mountain area, from the Emerald Peaks of Westera, right up to the Knockabacka Mountains, where people believe that this Garden of Melora is now slumbering. He says these are what people believe to be the footprints of the gardener, or one of the gardeners, that extended from here. Legend has it, especially across the tribes, that the gardener woke from its slumber and walked from here, and is now resting within the Knockabacka Mountains. I can see the merit. There's a gate within these what people would believe to be steps, and I guess each area is roughly the same diameter. So one might believe that they could be footprints. They also share a lot of things, a lot of characteristics in common with natural tectonic activity as well. So it's a little bit hard to ascertain which is which. But
can I do an investigation check on this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what I want to look for is stuff like is these maps are to scale, are they? I'm presuming.
Mhm.
Has it got a scale? Has it got a scale on it?
It does. Yes.
It does. Yes. Right. So I want to look at the scale between the footprints, what direction they're heading in, any other the shape of them, if we can see that, any just little bits like that.
Okay. So in that case, yeah, give me. It will be investigation roll then, or you can use. Mind you, investigation is intelligence anyway. So
that's unnatural 20.
Oh, nice. You study the map for a little while, and sort of like looking and as Kai is speaking, and giving you this this explanation. He sounds convincing because he himself is convinced that there is that it's more tectonics and like a natural thing than a giant walking mountain. But as you study it and look at, for example, what he describes to be footprints and a specific stride or gait between the two footprints, you do notice that if what you actually do to actually to kind of get pictures, you kind of not actually touch it because you could probably feel like you get a slap on the wrist if you did, but you kind of place your fingers and kind of walk along as if your fingers were legs across it, and it kind of fits, and it's you kind of feel that if it was tectonics, nature doesn't have a specific shape, if you know what I mean. That it's very rare in nature that you will get perfect, if you know what I mean. Nature very much usually is either not random, but you get a lot of round edges. You get a lot of things going in different directions. It never comes out perfect. Whereas this is almost like a perfect walking line, straight line, and almost like perfect footprints that go from Westera northwards towards this place in the Knockabacka Mountains, where he has drawn these specific mountains as well.
Interesting. Do we notice anything else about that as well, or just that the correlation that it looks a bit too perfect to be natural?
The correlation is another correlation that you noticed is the fact that these areas are more grown, so like they're more forest areas, in correlation to the rest of the land around. It's almost like there's a vegetation line that kind of goes from Westera northwards towards the Knockabacka Mountains, and he's even drawn on there sort of like lakes within the footprints. I say that in inverted commas. Sort of like lakes within the footprints, and sort of like the labels of some of them, what he's called them, sort of the Glacier Lake, I'm trying to think of some beautiful lake names. But anyway, so he's sort of like labelled a few of them as like when he's been to them, and he does have a few other maps on the side, which is actually sort of like rolled out to the side of some like more local areas. Some of them, they do appear to be just like holes in the ground where some of the tribes have actually set up settlements as well, and others are just like natural places where animals will go mostly. But yeah, it does sort of, a lot of the legends that speak of these gardeners of Melora leaving creation, or I guess in their wake, it fits with that legend.
Excellent. Can I make a note of the nearest one to us?
You can. The nearest one to you is not that far, actually, and you can actually just about see it from the panoramic window from the top. You know, where you came on the lift. So if you make a note of where it is, and if you look out the window, you can see there is actually it's kind of like in the distance. It's not too close, but it's probably maybe a couple of hours walk. An area that fits that description, sort of like rocky area. It's kind of like almost like a crevice in the ground that almost dips down. So rock's already built up, but there's like trees that are like built up, that come up around it. But you can see that particular area in the distance.
I'd like to. I'll say it at this point. I want to pitch the party. Then everybody, while we've got the opportunity to visit one so close by, I think we at least await an explanation and an investigation with it.
If you want to check it out, then sure. But I think wait until tomorrow. We did have a heck of a fight, and I think we all could do with a bit of
Yeah, I
downtime.
agree. I agree with you, brother.
Yes, that's wise.
Alvin.
So, can I ask him if he has any more information that I can pour, any other documents or books or anything that I can pour over while everybody's winding down?
Hey, well, while you are here, you are free to look at any of the maps and any of the documentation that I have on this subject. I'm happy to share. I do believe that information should be shared, which is why I chose to become a cartographer in the first place. So yes, of course, feel free to look over anything that you wish whilst you are here. And do feel free to stay. I have guest rooms, which go very unslept in. In fact, I think probably the last person to sleep in was Vinvia. And that was years ago. So yes, by all means, feel free to stay.
Extremely generous. I'm going to look for guidance from the others, but I'm quite happy with it.
Good.
If you're sure it's not imposing.
It wouldn't be imposing at all. This tower. Have you seen the size of this tower? It used to be full of people, and I used to a bit of a playboy back in my younger days. I have to say, I used to throw many a party. Not much anymore. I prefer the quiet life, and plus, going grey. The ladies don't much flock around. Don't much flock around me anymore. But
A lot of people like grey.
Oh, grey's a good colour. I'm not going.
I agree.
Yeah.
Maybe it's his personality.
Maybe.
Eh?
I made a few enemies back in the day. He kind of laughs to himself. Says, I don't know. Maybe I got a bit of a reputation for myself. Just, it's all well and good. Being with as many people as you can, and just, sharing yourself. I guess in your younger years. However, it does become very lonely when you get to a certain age. But anyway, never mind. Enough about me. Do feel free to stay in the rooms, the guest rooms, and yes, and take a tour of Westera as well while you're here. It's a lovely town. The people are very nice. We're actually gearing up for a peace festival in the next few weeks. So I hope, although. I don't know if that's going to be cancelled now, given everything else that's going on. But
well, speaking of which, we did have some problems when we was on our way in.
Oh, what do you mean problems?
Druids with, well, dryads, I should say, with
Dryads?
odd markings, tattoo-like on their bodies, and I'm going to just use minor illusion to cast one of those.
I can't say that's a marking that I'm particularly familiar with. But dryads, they don't tend to attack. They're friendly creatures.
Well, they may
Perhaps,
have been coerced.
yeah, they could be under a spell, or they could be threatened.
He takes a look at the marking. Sorry, study of magic is not really one of my things. Magic, yes. Knowledge of magic, not so much. I don't know if Vinvia told you. I have magic in my blood. I don't tend to use it very often though. Sometimes things go wrong. There was this one time when I attempted to cast a suggestion spell and ended up casting fireball and blowing up half the party that I was with. They didn't die. They were okay. But they I wasn't allowed to travel with them anymore.
Well, speaking of magic, are there any shops or anything that you could recommend? I'm looking for a particular scroll.
I mean, there are shops within the town. Let me see if I've actually got any for Westera on my notes. This will be one that I haven't done.
Sorry.
It's all right. I should have been more prepared for it. I knew you were coming here. Let's just borrow one from here. I can swap it around. There. These are NPCs. Hang on a second. Let's go to there. Go to this one. Go to nations. We are in the Kingdom of Anira. Towns. Is Westera here? Yes, it is. Places of interest. Do I have a magic store? No!
Oh no.
I know. Gutted. I've got like loads of other stuff, but I haven't got a magic store. Right, so I'll just have to make one up. There is a I don't know
Malfor's magic. There you go.
Malfor's magic. I was going to say stay for a spell, but
That's better.
That's
better.
the catchphrase.
Yeah. I want to go to stay for a spell.
Yep.
there is a shop in town called Stay for a Spell. If you wanted to pop by there, they do have potions and things. I do sometimes pop there. I used to go there quite a lot in my youth for remove. Anyway.
Oh
Oh
God!
my.
This old hippie keeps on giving us too much information.
He does.
Is there anywhere in town that sells enchanted bolts or weapons? Because I've realised that I'm slightly less prepared than I thought I was for this world.
The blacksmith sells all sorts of weapons, and I think sometimes he enchants them. You could probably head to the blacksmith and see what he's got. There are a couple in town, but the best one is the one that's closest. I can't remember the name, but if you head out of the walls and just make a left and down the street, quite close to where we are, you'll see.
All right.
But don't go to the one on the other side near the wall. Cheap, nasty stuff. Used by this cheap steel that gets imported by that Osiren fellow.
Well, knowing my sense of direction, this is gonna go great.
I'll go with you if you like, Sal.
Yeah, I'll come.
Yes.
We're staying here for this evening. If you've got time later, I'll gladly show you Monolari.
That would be wonderful. Yes.
I'm just gonna wander over to Raleigh. Hey, kid, you got any gold?
How much do you need?
Well, I need to go and get identified to see if I could get that thing working in the car.
Yeah, I mean, I'll come with you. It's fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sweet road trip.
Well, okay.
I
Go shopping
remember.
before.
I remember the name of the blacksmith. They're called Smelts of Roses. It's a good place.
Smelts of
Oh,
Roses. I like it.
oh dear. Smelts of roses.
Just don't go to Iron Designs. They have that coarse iron stuff. It's cheap. It's nasty. It's yes, you're probably getting more for your money, but you're not getting quality. And to be perfectly honest, it's something that's running through this kingdom. The armies are being supplied with this stuff, and it's just I've seen a few adventurers fall because they use these cheap ass weapons. Anyway, I digress. Head to Smelt of Roses, and they will they'll get you what you need.
Thank you.
Okay, and stay for a spell. Go to there. Right. I'm gonna put this map away, unless of course you wanted to study it more, Jan.
Yeah, can I spend some more time with the map, please?
Sure. I'll get some more of the local area maps for you. Was there any other ones that you wanted?
Is there anything that springs to your mind that could be of interest?
Vinvier mentioned that you were heading to the mountain that he believes to be a sleeping gardener. I can show you the map of that particular area. I've not been into the cavern. There are warnings outside the particular cavern regarding something about a beholder, and I don't do things like that by myself. So
Beware of the beholder.
yes. So I mean, I can show you the caverns and everything that I have explored around that area, but as far as the warnings of the beholder, I didn't see or hear anything, but I'd rather not risk it. So I can get you, if you want maps for that area, I can get you as far as that.
Yes, please do.
Absolutely. So he heads on over to those big drawers again, pulls them out, and goes through his his filing system, and starts pulling out more maps of that particular area. You can see that he doesn't have them in alphabetical order. He does have a filing system, but you can probably gather it's more place order, longitude, latitude, and there's a specific filing system. It doesn't look like it's an alphabetical at all. It's more he has a central point, and he goes from longitude, latitude, and finds the area that he needs and pulls them out. It's a very sophisticated filing system he has for these maps, and he has lots of them. You can tell he's spent hours, days probably, on each of these maps. It's all he's ever done. He's probably stopped doing it now, but yeah, massive big up on the maps. So who am I going to go with first? I
was just going to say, just for expediency, to try and get back to Jan as quick as we can, could we just skip the mapping and just go and get identified?
Yeah, I'll say that. So I'll say that
I'm happy to buy stuff outside of the actual live stream bit.
That's no problem. Well, we'll say that deduct the gold that you'd need to deduct for your bolts.
Yep. Right,
so
first level spell for identify, and I'd need parchment, which is about, I think, 50 gold per level. So
just find out for you. And I'll just get the prices for you, and you've done that.
Thank you, Rob, for spotting me this.
That's alright.
It's the curse of a wizard. I've always skinned.
Freeloading family.
First level spell, common. Yeah, you're looking at probably paying 50 gold for that spell.
Okay, so 100 gold total, and I owe you that, Rob.
So what else are you buying?
It's just the paper and ink, because I used all of it for the ones that I had.
Oh, right, okay, yes, 100 gold total there. And for what type of ammunition are you looking for, Sal?
Oh, just anything that is magical, just to bypass any resistance.
Magical bolts. So.
Or something that will enchant a crossbow.
Okay. So I do have an enchantment table, which I am happy to pull up somewhere. Don't want that. That is a rap that I'm writing for work.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Right.
Yeah, you don't want that. Okay.
No.
do you don't want to hear that? No. Okay. There we are. So, we'll say that you go to that. What type of enchantment are you looking for? I'm not going to roleplay it, but I'll just what type of gold have you got to spend here?
I don't have loads. I don't have it written down on this current sheet because I'm not in my.
You had about 1,500.
Yes, but I paid you 50 for the
50.
thing,
So
so I've got about 1,000. I'd say 400 at this point.
Okay, right. So,
because I don't want to spend all of it.
No. Let's see.
It doesn't have to be fancy. It just has to be better than the pieces of wood I've got at the moment.
Better than the piece of wood. We'll say that someone can enchant your crossbow. Specific enchantments that I've got here. You could have a crossbow of... Now, these are varying in cost. So, for specific enchantments here, you could have an elemental crossbow, which means it would be a crossbow that does elemental damage. So this would basically do an additional 1d6 of whichever element. So it'd be specific things. So it'd be either earth, so it'd be bludgeoning damage, fire, burning damage, water or ice. Sorry, or lightning damage. That will set you back 750 for that enchantment if you wanted that. You could make it specifically fire. We can make it a flame tongue crossbow. That would enchant all of them. That itself would be 500 for that one. For a flame tongue crossbow, you could go a little bit more simple. You could have a crossbow of warning. It makes it a magical crossbow. You don't do any magical damage, but it does. It does increase. I think it does warn you against a certain type of enemy which you would state when you enchant it. If you wanted that, and yes, you could say druid as a type of enemy. But just remember, not all enemies are druids. So you could make it an elven crossbow. That makes it lighter to use. So officially, if you've got a heavy crossbow and you make it an elven crossbow, it becomes a light weapon. So you can hold it in one hand. But I'm guessing you already have a light crossbow.
Yeah.
You could have a gleaming crossbow. That means it shines.
Why would I want that?
You can have a crossbow. You can have a crossbow of terror. About 500
Oh,
gold.
now that sounds interesting.
Yeah, when you fire that, you can also you'd have 3 charges a day. You can also make it cast fear on your enemies. So when you hit them, you can also make them roll a wisdom saving throw, and if they fail, and the DC would be the DC is set at 14. If they fail on that one, they would flee. So there's that one. That's a rare. That's 500. So life stealing. You could have a crossbow of life stealing. I'd need to look that one up because I can't remember what that one does exactly. But it's based off the sword of life stealing. But I like to mix it up a little bit.
Oh, I'm happy to think about this while we go back to Jan because I don't want to spend ages umming and ahhing about it.
Okay, all right.
I can't decide. They all sound so good.
You can tell me which one you want, in private message later if you like, and we can sort that out of game. No problem. It's good to know that you have the options anyway.
Yes. Just drool over crossbows.
Whilst you're drooling over crossbows, we'll go back to the tower where Jan, you've got sort of like you've got candles lit now, and you're looking over these maps and studying them. And Kai sort of walks over and sort of kind of no one else is there. They're all out shopping, and he just says,
He's still on the roof.
"Yeah, okay. Is Nixie within 100 feet of you now?"
No, but she's still watching on the roof.
She's still up on the roof. Kai will walk up to you, Jan, and just say, You have the same look in your eye that he has. Vinvir.
What, so, what are you alluding to there?
I've been friends, or I don't know, acquaintances, party member, whatever you want to call me, with Vinvir for quite some years, and he did always have something that he was looking for, and he wanted to study my maps quite a lot as well. Said he didn't want to rest until he found a specific thing. He was always very secretive about it. And I just see that you have the same look in your eyes.
How long did you travel with him?
A few years. He has a much longer lifespan than I have. Although I did manage to buy myself a few years when I accidentally de-aged myself. But that's another story. I don't know.
So you mentioned that the look is the same, but do you know what it was that drives him?
What do you mean?
Well, I didn't ask any specifics, but he mentioned a loss. I get the impression he lost someone very close to him. I didn't want to pry into his. I didn't want to pry into the story, but I was wondering if you know.
He was very secretive about that. He was I don't know. It almost looked like it came from a place of shame, but I don't know what he'd have to be ashamed of. He carried around a locket.
Sorry,
Go
can
on,
I insight that? See if I think it's true.
Yeah, go.
Yeah.
7.
7. You can't really tell with that. He used to carry around a locket with him. Something he would always sort of holding his hand whenever he would look over these maps.
What type of locket?
I don't know, a personal locket, I guess. It was gold. It was. It seemed to be something that he held it tight and with affection.
You seem quite sensitive to the arcane. Was it magical?
The locket. I never really checked.
Okay.
It was I don't know. I never asked questions, and it felt weird to pry. And I'm sorry that I brought it up with you. I just wanted to point out that that's what I noticed. And I guess in my old age, I don't have much to lose, so I like to ask questions.
No, not at all. There's if anything, I'm going to take that comment about drive as a sign of endearment. I think, but I do. I also sense that you were maybe trying to heed me a warning there.
I don't know. Whatever you're looking for, the specifics in this area, I'm guessing it has to do with this cave it contains a beholder, which, just be careful. I guess if you have a strong party behind you, it's not going to be much bother, but just be careful, nonetheless. If it has anything to do with that, and what drove Vinvir and still drives Vinvir to this day, then just be careful, because it looks like it's something that may consume a person.
There's certainly drive between both of us, but the directions that we're driven in and the destinations are completely different. But I do heed your warning.
if I may be so bold, what is it exactly that you seek and for what purpose?
I'm just seeking to right an academic wrong, shall we say? This I believe there's an artifact that if that I've studied was during my days at the university, and I think that if I can find this and discredit it, it will really elevate my standing among peers who once looked down on me. I think Vinvir is maybe lost in a pipe dream somewhere along there. Although I do not know the details, I can only hazard a guess of what he wants to achieve. But
So you think that this specific item has no merit and it is in fact fraudulent?
yes, I think it's folktale. I think it's yeah. Just from my studies, it never seemed to. It just didn't add up. It seemed like it was just a fairy tale, something that could, you know how primitive people understand the world. It seemed like that sort of tale that maybe is just. The more that I find out about it, the more credence is given to that. Such as if this artifact is locked in with a beholder, of course it's going to have some mystery around it. But I think it would be mere coincidence if there was any power to it.
Is this all true that you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm not going to ask you to roll. He just looks at you and just nods, says, "Oh, very well. I guess if you do find any solid proof to your findings, I guess maybe sharing that with Vinvir would be maybe a good thing. Maybe it would let him let something go."
I want to ask him here honestly as well. I think that you understand what Vinvir wants, although both of us have clouded details on it. Do you think it would be a good idea to let him have that?
I don't know exactly what he wants, but I do think it has to do with either bringing someone back or getting someone back. And loosely termed, bringing someone back as in they're gone, they're never coming back to a point of the unnatural, which I know I want to talk, I have magic in my blood. Or getting someone back, which to me seems more in the way of coercing someone into doing something that they do not want to do, and I don't know which one of that it is. So,
Just to clarify, do you mean getting someone back as in reuniting with an old companion, or getting someone back as in revenge?
it could be either. I don't really know what drives him. However, the way that he used to hold that locket, I did get a glimpse in there once. It appeared to be a picture.
Can I use persuasion on him?
Yeah, what for?
Yeah, what for? So I want to say, I want to try and persuade him to give some more details along the angle of, look, we're alone now. We both know how it is traveling with companions, especially when you've had encounters where you've nearly lost your lives. Like he must have let something slip, or you must have some inkling of to what his true agenda is here.
Roll persuasion.
18.
18. I did get a glimpse into his locket once. There was a picture of what appeared to be a young man. I didn't get too much of a glimpse. He closed it quite quickly as soon as he noticed that I was looking in that direction. Possibly someone that was very close to him. I don't know if he had any children, if he lost any children. I don't know if this was a dear friend or more.
Between you and I, he definitely worded it to me as if he wanted to bring somebody back, revive somebody. But it just doesn't, to me, add up. How there would be so many questions, he'd have to move away. He wouldn't be whatever he achieved. It would just be a puppet of what he thinks it would be. It's pure delusion, and that's driving him at this point. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm a traveller. It makes no difference to me what state we leave him in, as long as it furthers my goals. But there is a part of me that thinks morally, answering this question for him is not going to give him the solace that he seeks.
I don't know. Do you think that this item that he is searching for, is it necromantic? Is it what kind of magic is this? You're the one trying to prove or discredit this particular item. What are your working theories?
Well, the legends say that it's an item that can give physical properties to illusions permanently. So the tales that we used to hear at university were it being used by tribes to build bridges across canyons in emergencies and things. There was never any mention of longevity, but the more I read into these things, like you mentioned with the atomic plates, they're all things that have other explanations. I don't think that this. I think it's just another instance of academics using something that can't be solidified to further their own academic pursuits, which is exactly what's driving me to turn that round on them, if you understand.
Okay, I see. Well, I mean, I hope that my maps and all the information that I've been able to give you can help you on this endeavour, and I don't really know what to hope for your particular mission, whether I hope that you manage to prove that this is nothing more than a fairy tale or a fable, or that you are proven wrong that this type of magic exists. I don't know. I'm not stupid. I know that magic exists in the world. I'm quite living proof of that. But I don't know. I don't know if something like that in anybody's hands would be dangerous, and maybe there's a reason that item is locked up with a beholder.
Yes, well, I think the most plausible explanation and the one that would work out best for everybody is if I'm right. So,
well, maybe. Well, like I say, take all of the time that you need with any of these maps and documents and things. If there's anything else you want from me, just ask. And as far as Vinvi is concerned, if you do manage to prove this particular item wrong, go gentle on him. It's something that he's been looking for and searching for a long time. Okay?
That's another thing. His power is magnitudes above mine. I can't quite work out why he's pinned his hopes on me for this.
Maybe you have something that he doesn't. Maybe you need to work out what that is.
The only thing that I have that he doesn't is my companions. But we shall see. I shall certainly, if we don't pass back through this way, I will certainly find a way to keep you updated as well. I can tell that you have some emotional investment in this story.
I'd like to see how it turns out. And if you do manage to enter this cave with this beholder, and you do manage to get into the chambers where the beholder are, and you do manage to, I don't know, sketch out any of the maps from in there, or make it safe for maybe me to go in and map the area, I would love this.
So persuasion then, can I roll the persuasion to see? I want to say if he's got anything that might assist us in a battle with a beholder, I'll either map the room for him or make sure that it's clear for him to go in afterwards.
Okay, yeah.
That's 24.
Oh. So you're looking here to see if you'll be able to. You're trying to persuade him to give you something that would be able to help you in a fight against a beholder.
Yeah.
The thing about beholders, and I've never actually faced up against one. I've only ever read about them, and even then, I'm not exactly an avid reader. All I know is they have lots of eyes. If you're able to blind a beholder, that can give you the upper advantage. So, I don't know, you're a magic user. I mean, I know blindness. I'm able to do it myself. It's something that kind of comes naturally to me. I don't know how I know it. It just happens. But you being a magic user, if you can use blindness on a beholder and have it take effect, then that could give you the upper advantage.
Does he have time to teach me the blindness tonight?
Roll persuasion.
That's 8.
Okay. My magic is a little different to yours. Mine is sorcerer's magic. It's in my blood. It's a little bit different to book smarts. I could try and teach you, but it would probably take some time. A good couple of days. The way that I do it is very different to the way that a wizard would cast this sort of spell.
Do you know somewhere where I can maybe get a scroll of it? Is there one you could lend me to scribe?
I mean, you could always pop on down to stay for a spell. They have many different scrolls and things. They may have that spell there.
Yeah, so I'll make a mental note, Phil, to go there before we travel out tomorrow. It'll be shut now, won't it?
Yes, it's getting late now, and yes, it will be shut. At this point, we'll say that everyone else comes back and you're shown to your rooms for longevity, unless there's anything anyone else wants to do.
I'll spend a few hours with him, and I'll do the minor illusion and kind of show him level by level what Monolari was. So if he wants to map it out, he can.
Oh yes,
I would like to watch.
You'd like to watch that?
Yes.
Okay.
No,
So,
in a completely non-creepy way.
Actually,
Because I said like that for like the kid from The Room.
actually,
I like to watch.
it might actually be beneficial because you may have been to some areas of the city that I hadn't. So maybe together we could actually get a more complete picture for his maps.
Well, Griggs, before we start this, I was wondering if I could ask you a question. Just alone.
Okay, I'll usher out into the hallway then.
What? Why are you showing everyone Monolari?
It's gone. It's flooded. And if we
Wait. So, where do you think the people who were looking for you after you left came from?
my working theory is that knob jockey, Killers, managed to escape, or some of his minions did, and they've got standing orders to hunt me down and smush me. That's my working theory at the moment.
Oh, Grinks.
Unless you know something I don't.
He didn't make it out of Monolari.
Oh, that's good then. So he's dead.
Because it's still there.
and that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Oh! What?
Oh, I know it's a little early, but that was
Sal's only just worked it out as well. Sal's only just worked out that you don't realise. And Sal's stomach has dropped.
Oh, that's amazing. That was a great way of ending that session.
Whoa. No.
So, yeah, we're going to leave that on that bombshell, where we're going to, I know it's a little early, but that's a really good way to end it. I love it when a player puts the cliffhanger in place. That's amazing. So, yeah, we will come back next week on that bombshell after Grinks has just found out that Monolari is still there. Yeah,
he's still alive. Oh my god! No, he's dead. The little rat bastard's dead.
And we're going to call it quits for now, and I'm going to end the stream there, and then we can talk about this in a minute, guys. And we'll end the stream there, and we're going to call it quits, and we will see everyone hopefully next week. But thanks for watching, and bye everybody. That was awesome. That was so cool.
Oh my days! What the hell? No.
Wait. Tell me out of character that you knew it was still there, right?
I have always thought it got smushed, and out of character, I thought I was the reason it got smushed.